a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Greer Garson. Eileen Evelyn Greer Garson, CBE, was a British-American actress popular during the Second World War, being listed by the Motion Picture Herald as one of America's top 10 box office draws from 1942 to 1946. A major star at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer during the 1940s, Garson received 7 Academy Award nominations, including a record 5 consecutive nominations, winning the Best Actress Award for Mrs. Miniver. Early life. Greer Garson was born on the 29th of September 1904 in Manor Park, East Ham, then in Essex, now part of London, the only child of Nina and George Garson, a commercial clerk in a London importing business. Her father was born in London, to Scottish parents, and her mother was from Drumalaw, County Cavan. The name, Greer, is a contraction of MacGregor, another family name. Her maternal grandfather was David Greer, and Rick Sargent in Castlewellan, County Down. In the 1880s he became a land steward to the Ansley family, wealthy landlords who built the town of Castlewellan. David Greer lived in a large detached house built on the lower part of what was known as Pig Street, or known locally as the Backway near Shillyday's Builders' Yard. The house was called Claremont, and today the street is named Claremont Avenue. It was often reported erroneously that Greer Garson was born in this house. Garson was educated at King's College London and the University of Grenoble, where she earned degrees in French and 18th-century literature. While aspiring to be an actress, she worked at an advertising agency as a company secretary along with George Sanders, who wrote in his autobiography that it was Garson who suggested he take up a career in acting. Career. Greer Garson's early professional appearances were on stage, starting at Birmingham Repertory Theatre in January 1932. She appeared on television during its earliest years, most notably starring in a 30-minute production of an excerpt of Twelfth Night in May 1937, with Dorothy Black. These live transmissions were part of the BBC's experimental service from Alexandra Palace, and this is the first known instance of a Shakespeare play performed on television. Louis B. Mayer discovered Garson while he was in London looking for new talent. Garson was signed to a contract with MGM in late 1937, but did not begin work on her first film, Goodbye, Mr. Chips, until late 1938. She received her first Oscar nomination for the role, but lost to Vivien Leigh for Gone with the Wind. She received critical acclaim the next year for her role as Elizabeth Bennet in the 1940 film, Pride and Prejudice. Garson starred with Joan Crawford in When Ladies Meet in 1941, and that same year became a major box office star with the sentimental Technicolor drama Blossoms in the Dust, which brought her the first of 5 consecutive Best Actress Oscar nominations, tying Bette Davis's 1938-42 record, which still stands. Garson won the Academy Award for Best Actress in 1942 for her role as a strong British wife and mother in the middle of World War II in Mrs. Miniver. In 1942, Garson also co-starred in the powerful, dramatic film Random Harvest, with Academy Award winner Ronald Colman. Set at the end of World War I with Ronald Colman as a shell-shocked, amnesiac soldier, and Greer Garson as his love interest, Random Harvest received 7 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture. It lost to Mrs. Miniver, and Garson won the Academy Award for that role. Colman was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in Random Harvest, and Garson couldn't be nominated for her role in that movie, because she was already nominated for her role as Mrs. Miniver, based on a New York Times best-selling novel of the same name by James Hilton. Random Harvest is one of the greatest love story films ever made, and Greer Garson helped make it that way. Garson was also nominated for Madame Curie, Mrs. Parkington, and The Valley of Decision. She frequently co-starred with Walter Pidgeon, ultimately making 8 pictures with him: Blossoms in the Dust, Mrs. Miniver, Madame Curie, Mrs. Parkington, Julia Misbehaves, That Forsyte Woman, The Miniver Story, and Scandal at Scourie. Garson was partnered with Clark Gable, after his return from war service, in Adventure. The film was advertised with the catchphrase, "Gable's back and Garson's got him." Gable argued, for he put the arson in Garson. She countered, "She put the able in Gable." Thereafter, the safer catchphrase was selected. Garson's popularity declined somewhat in the late 1940s, but she remained a prominent film star until the mid-1950s. In 1951, she became a naturalized citizen of the United States. She made only a few films after her MGM contract expired in 1954. In 1958, she received a warm reception on Broadway in Auntie Mame, replacing Rosalind Russell, who had gone to Hollywood to make the film version. In 1960, Garson received her seventh and final Oscar nomination for Sunrise at Campobello, in which she played Eleanor Roosevelt, this time losing to Elizabeth Taylor for Butterfield 8. Greer was special guest on an episode of the TV series Father Knows Best, playing herself. On 4 October 1956, Garson appeared with Reginald Gardner as the first two guest stars of the series, in the premiere of NBC's The Ford Show, starring Tennessee Ernie Ford. Garson appeared as a mystery guest on What's My Line on 25 October 1953 and on 6 April 1958 to promote her appearance in Auntie Mame. She was a panelist on the 12th of May 1957 episode. She returned to MGM for a role in The Singing Nun starring Debbie Reynolds. Her last film, in 1967, was Walt Disney's The Happiest Millionaire, although she made infrequent television appearances afterwards. In 1968, she narrated the children's television special The Little Drummer Boy. Her final role for television was in a 1982 episode of The Love Boat. Honors. Garson received an honorary Doctor of Arts degree from Southern Methodist University in Dallas, her late husband's alma mater, in 1991. In 1993, Queen Elizabeth II recognized Garson's achievements by investing her as Commander of the Order of the British Empire. Personal life. Garson was married 3 times. Her first marriage, on 28 September 1933, was to Edward Alec Abbots Nelson, later Sir Edward, a British civil servant who became a noted judge and expert in Indian affairs. She lived with him briefly in Nagpur, a small town in central India, but eventually returned to the theatre. Sir Edward reportedly grieved at losing her, and would watch multiple screenings of any film of hers that played in Nagpur. The actual marriage reportedly lasted only a few weeks, but it was not formally dissolved until 1943. Her second husband, whom she married on 24 July 1943, was Richard Ney, the younger actor who played her son in Mrs. Miniver. The relationship was under constant scrutiny due to their age difference, and despite attempts by MGM to portray the image of a happy couple, the marriage was troubled. They divorced in 1947 after several attempts at reconciliation. Ney eventually became a stock market analyst, financial consultant, and author. In 1949, Garson married a millionaire Texas oilman and horse breeder, E. Buddy Fogelson. In 1967, the couple retired to their Forked Lightning Ranch in New Mexico. They purchased the U.S. Hall of Fame champion thoroughbred Ack from the estate of Harry F. Guggenheim in 1971 and were highly successful as breeders. They also maintained a home in Dallas, Texas, where Garson funded the Greer Garson Theater facility at Southern Methodist University. She also established a permanent endowment for the Fogelson Honors Forum at Texas Christian University in nearby Fort Worth. Though Buddy Fogelson never obtained a college degree, he attended TCU for 2 years and claimed it as his alma mater. Garson was a registered Republican, and in 1966 was asked to run for Congress on the Republican ticket against Democrat Earl Cabell, but she declined, not wanting to become another show business name mixing with political agendas. During her later years, Garson was recognized for her philanthropy and civic leadership. She donated several $1 million for the construction of the Greer Garson Theater at both the Santa Fe University of Art and Design and at Southern Methodist University's Meadows School of the Arts on 3 conditions: 1. The stages be circular, 2. The premiere production be William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, and 3. They have large ladies' rooms. Garson was a devout Presbyterian. The actress suffered a back injury during her first 18 months at MGM, while waiting for a role Meyer deemed worthy of her, and was nearly released from her contract. Her back was injured again while filming Desire Me in Monterey on 26 April 1946 when a wave knocked her and co-star Richard Hart from The Rocks where they were rehearsing. a local fisherman and extra in the film, rescued Garson from the surf and potential undertow. She was bruised and in shock and required by doctors to rest for several days. The injury to her back would require several surgeries over the coming years. From the early 1970s, interest was renewed in the stars of Hollywood's golden age, as their films received regular TV airings, and more facts about performers, as opposed to the information that the studios had circulated about them, came to light. Around this time, a more plausible year of birth for Garson, 1908, began to appear in print. This could have been a year she had given when she took to the stage in the UK, conscious that she was a late starter or, for similar reasons, to MGM at the time she first signed with them. This second date achieved wide credence, until after Garson's death, when obituaries revealed that she had been born 4 years earlier, in 1904. Death. In her final years, Garson occupied a penthouse suite at the Presbyterian Hospital in Dallas. She died there from heart failure on the 6th of April 1996, at the age of 91. She is interred beside her late husband in the Sparkman Hillcrest Memorial Park Cemetery in Dallas. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like